Now, this is the second horror film I have seen and reviewed that involves a doll that is either a paranormal one that scares the living hell out of people, or if it's a killing machine doll that basically kills anybody. I guess I do have a morbid interest in horror movie dolls. I am getting this weird feeling now that I have watched this film. Yeah. Hey guys, Logan here, and today I'm going to be giving you guys another 2019 movie review. For this review, I'm going to be talking about Annabelle Comes Home, the third film in the Annabelle franchise, and also the seventh film in the Conjuring cinematic universe. Directed and written by Gary Duberman and Isabel Ed and Lorraine Warren, bringing the possessed doll, Annabelle, to the locked artifacts room in their home, placing her safely behind sacred glass and enlisting a priest's holy blessing. But an unholy night of horror awaits as Annabelle awakens the evil spirits in the room, who all set their sights on a new target, the Warrens' 10-year-old daughter named Judy, played by McKenna Grace, as well as her friends. I watched this film not yesterday, but the day before, in preparation for this review, and I gotta say, I was not impressed. This movie is just nothing short of an underwhelming, predictable boredom, a cheap boredom fest that is filled with jump scares that you can see coming from a mile away. This movie, like many horror films nowadays, have scenes where a sound drowns out for just a few seconds, and then a sound pops up in just a high volume and just, makes you jump within your seat. There are lots of moments like that you can really see coming from a mile away. In fact, the jump scares in this movie were more predictable than me dressing up and doing toiletries to do a video. I mean, that's just how predictably bad the jump scares were in this movie. It's just that obvious. This movie takes an interesting approach because this does take place in just one place, which is inside the Warrens' house. And I kind of like that concept, taking place at this one house that has a lot of these cursed objects. One of them, the most recognizable one, is Annabelle the doll, that is locked in a sacred glass and stuff like that. I do like the idea of being in a house that has a lot of those cursed things, with a lot of curses lifted from them. Now that's a pretty interesting idea. However, this movie's concept is ruined or overshadowed, I should say, by the dumb character decisions that happen throughout this movie, especially the girl who plays a friend to the Warren daughter's babysitter, who I've seen her in a film or two, and she's a pretty good actress. But McKenna Grace, who plays of Ed and Lorraine Warren's daughter, a 10-year-old daughter, she was the crowning jewel of this movie. She was by far the best part in the entire film. She actually made this movie better than what it could have been, with her really good performance and everything else that she had to do to carry this movie on her back. And as well as the girl who plays her babysitter. She was good as well. I mean, the three main leads, particularly McKenna Grace, they were not bad performance-wise. I'm just talking about how their characters were written and how their roles were executed and how they were made for the purposes of this film's story. It's just something that I thought was came out as bland. The story here, what story? There is no story. At least realistically, there's no story to be found. It's basically an endless series of characters slowly walking through the hallways in a house, looks at their surroundings, looking for something creepy for it to come out, and just seconds later with the sound drowning out, and then something pops up and scares that character. That is the majority of Annabelle Comes Home, and it got so repetitive near the end to the point where I just sit back and was like, what were the people behind this film thinking for making this movie turn out what it is? Like, I just don't understand it. How was this film finalized? Not that I didn't expect this movie to be good, because I didn't know much about the director for this film, Gary Duberman. This is his directorial debut, this being the first film that he has directed, and it kind of shows. Or no, not kind of, it definitely shows. His direction here was just forgettable. It was done in a way that was just not that really good. Just how he directed this movie is just not that very impressive. However, this movie does have some redeeming qualities. It's not like this movie is terrible or anything. It does have things going for it. The cinematography is really good. I like the dark and gleamy, or whatever the word you would use to describe it, that just looks so atmospheric. The atmosphere is there, and it's done very well. And plus, the production designs, mostly within the Warrens' house, is done very well. I thought it was. I thought it looked very good. And even in brief scenes with Ed and Lorraine Warren, because they're not in this movie too much, they weren't really the main focal point of this movie. Even in some very small, tiny moments with them, they basically were very interesting to watch, and they kept me from being bored from watching this movie. Outside of that, outside of those positives that I just mentioned, this movie, like I said earlier in this review, is just nothing more than a boring, predictable, cheap jump scare fest that has a really weak written script, dumb character decisions that happen throughout this film's runtime, and the lack of the capitalization on this movie's existence. The fact that this movie is being made for nothing else other than being part of the Conjuring universe, being the third installment of the Annabelle series. There's not much that this movie capitalized on, itself being made into a movie. Just not much that it does, and it's really off-putting. I'm going to give Annabelle Comes Home a silver medal of honor. So anyway, guys, that is my review for Annabelle Comes Home. My next 2019 movie review will be for Midsommar. I believe that's how you say it, right? One of the A24 movies that came out last year. Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to give it that like button to click, and if you'd like to see future videos from me, make sure to press up there to subscribe, and don't forget to turn on that bell icon so that you'll get notified about my latest videos. Have a great day, and as always, fight the good fight.